Another tough loss for the Orange. They fall right here in Piscataway to the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. 23-15 is your final score. Kevin Fitzgerald, Andrew Kanell here for Orange Fizz TV. A really tough one out there when you break it down. Turnovers, red zone problems. So let's start with the turnovers. They really racked them up today, Syracuse.
Well, the offense and really everybody that you talked to after the game as far as Syracuse is concerned just talked about the F word, frustration. They were all just so frustrated after this game because it's true, Kevin. Syracuse outplayed Rutgers for the wide majority of this game. That being said, it didn't actually pay off in the scoreboard, and that's because turnovers, penalties, and other dumb mistakes are what really doomed Syracuse in the end. Outgained Rutgers total yardage-wise by close to 200 yards, but it didn't pay off in the scoreboard because even though Syracuse continued to get those positive drives down the field, when they got to the red zone, everything just seemed to come apart. The wheels fell off the bus, so to speak.
Seems like they shot themselves in the foot too many times. They even still had a chance to score, and that final drive was ended by Ryan Nassib reception. He had two. This team, really another theme of this game, could not get it done in the red zone. Plenty of opportunities. Even at one point in the fourth quarter, had 8 straight plays where they couldn't put it in on goal to go. So that's obviously something you need to look at down the road. Why is the team struggling in the red zone?
Well, Ryan Nassib was asked about that, and he said that when you get in the red zone, things tend to speed up a little bit on offense. And, of course, this offense plays very quickly anyway. But as far as Ryan Nassib, his sort of mindset was just things were getting a little bit too chaotic. You had some of those penalties, false starts that he ended up being accountable. A lot of the Syracuse players were very accountable in blaming themselves. Now, Nassib, Justin Pugh also took responsibility, but I just think things sped up a little bit too much for Syracuse in the red zone. Also, Doug Marrone took responsibility from going away from the jumbo formation with Adonis Moore, and Coker early on in the game because said he was pressing too much, trying to score quickly. So Doug Marrone loves to take the blame. Players love to take the blame. Everybody taking blame. The bottom line is it's kind of a combination of everybody. Syracuse collectively just needs to improve, especially in the red zone, preventing turnovers and mistakes and penalties at the worst time.
And like you said, we'll finish up on this, but it can't be put on just one person, this loss. Quickly, let's touch on special teams. We had a blocked field goal. There was also a botched, muffed kick return. Stephen Renee fumbled a punt. That obviously led to a turnover. Can't keep racking up these turnovers on the special teams. It's a critical part of this game.
You know, they know that as well. Doug Marrone just talked about how he can't expect, I think this was pretty much the quote of the presser, by the way, that he can't expect these type of mistakes because otherwise he'd be a bleep coach. And
right.
I think that was the first time I heard Doug Marrone actually curse at one of these press conferences. He was really peeved after the game. You could just tell, yeah, special teams is a big issue for Syracuse. It has been a big issue this season. You could argue that Syracuse would have 2 or 3 more victories at this point, practically already be bowl eligible, if not for poor special teams play. But when the players talk about it after the game, you ask Jamarco Thomas, Ryan Nassib, Siriki Diabate about special teams issues, what are they going to say? You know, a lot of it's just isolated incidents, just really poor plays by the Syracuse team at the wrong opportunity, and that's why it's so frustrating to all involved. It's fluky, poor plays at the wrong time that continue to do Syracuse in, especially on special teams and especially in the red zone. And that's why right now Syracuse is sitting at 2-4.
And those fluky plays, like you said, they do lead to that 2-4 record against a 23-15 loss right here in Piscataway. For Andrew Kanell, I'm Kevin Fitzgerald. Another tough loss for the Orange, but thanks for tuning in to more Fizz TV.